First up, of course, we have Mariah Carey. Even if you're not familiar with many of JLo's feuds, I'm sure you know that Mariah Carey hates her. That's because Mariah has not been shy about throwing shade in her direction. These two have been feuding ever since JLo started to make music, and started to steal her shine. Then when Mariah was asked about Lopez in an interview, she famously replied, quote, "I don't know her." Years later, when Andy Cohen brought up the beef on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer Lopez played the whole thing off, saying, quote, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be friends with her." But then JLo was a little more savage on the Wendy Williams show when asked about the feud in 2016. Lopez said, quote, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met so many times." But Carey doubled down in another interview where she added that she still doesn't know Jennifer Lopez. When Mariah had a mishap of her own during a disastrous New Year's Eve performance, Lopez took a break from the high road and liked an extremely shady tweet about Mariah. The tweet said, quote, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." If you're wondering where this feud started, it all goes back to Mariah's ex-husband and music executive, Tommy Mottola. After getting married in 1993, Carey divorced Mottola in 1998 because he was very controlling. And to get back at her, Mottola started up JLo's career and did everything possible to make JLo a star, instead of Mariah. JLo sampled a number of Mariah-esque songs. There were even allegations she straight up copied some of Mariah's songs, but tried to make them more of a hit. All because of Mottola. But Mariah knows she still came out on top, adding, quote, "After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States." So basically the whole feud is over career competition and the fact that Lopez was in cahoots with Carey's controlling ex. Rosie Perez. You'd think that JLo and Rosie Perez would be great friends, considering how much they have in common. Both women are dancers, are Puerto Rican, and grew up in New York. But the pair are not close, and it would be more accurate to say that they actually hate each other. According to Perez's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, she has plenty of negative stories to share about JLo. In her memoir, Perez shared a story from the set of In Living Color. She wrote about Lopez, quote, "All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage," and added she was acting like, quote, "some ghetto bitch," screaming and pounding her chest. JLo ended up leaving that show after 2 seasons, but the feud between the pair continued, and Perez claimed that Lopez would speak negatively about her whenever she got the chance. Even worse, Lopez was allegedly two-faced. She would talk trash behind Perez's back, but be nice to her face. Brandy. In the midst of the Mariah and JLo feud, Brandy publicly supported Mariah, making it clear she does not like JLo. In July of 2017, Brandy took to Instagram to share a photo of herself hugging Mariah Carey with the caption, #SheKnows Me, an obvious reference to Mariah's infamous "I don't know her" comment about JLo. All the comments were flooded with people speculating over the caption, and the consensus quickly became that the photo was a dig at JLo. However, Brandy later addressed the caption, writing, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I didn't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable, you know that I am." Later adding that Mariah does in fact know her. Mariah supported the post by commenting, quote, "I sure do." Even though Brandy is trying to convince us it's nothing shady, I honestly don't believe it. Next up, Nicki Minaj. It's long been rumored that Jennifer Lopez is a huge diva, and the fight that her and Nicki Minaj had while on American Idol brought up both of their diva sides. In 2012, Lopez was a judge on American Idol while Nicki came on to perform, and things got tense fast. After Nicki finished performing, she went over to the judges table and asked, quote, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a little bit?" JLo then responded, quote, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Then Minaj took it up another notch backstage when she said, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." But she later added, quote, "We were just joking around." But it's clear the bad blood is still there. When Lopez performed at the 2015 AMAs, she sang a part of Minaj's song Anaconda. But I don't think Nicki got the memo that it was going to be happening, because when the camera panned to Nicki, she did not look happy. Fans totally saw the shade and started tweeting about it that night. Rihanna. Rihanna and JLo started feuding right around the time that JLo was seen getting cozy with Rihanna's ex, Drake. This all happened in 2016 when J-Lo and Drake took a photo backstage at J-Lo's concert. Once the photos came out, everyone assumed that they were dating, which probably got the attention of his exes. A lot of fans felt the whole thing was most likely a publicity stunt, but Rihanna took the rumors pretty seriously and lashed out online because of it. A source said at the time that Rihanna suffered, quote, the ultimate betrayal and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. This was because Rihanna and J-Lo were really tight at one point, and Rihanna even got support from J-Lo during rough times with Drake. Then in December of 2016, Rihanna unfollowed J-Lo on Instagram, making her stance very clear. Jenna Dewan. When the pair started alongside each other on World of Dance, they seemed like they got along great. Lopez was a producer and a judge, while Dewan was a host and mentor on the show. But sources revealed that when the camera stopped rolling, the women hated each other. One source said about their relationship, quote, Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. The insider continued that J-Lo is a micromanager who tells everyone else what to do. Because of all her input, Jenna felt excluded and felt like her voice was not heard. Although there is a chance that this feud is not accurate because when Dewan's team was asked about the feud rumors, they denied them. Ojani Noa. Jennifer Lopez has been married 3 times before. Her first and shortest marriage was to Cuban waiter Ojani Noa. Although their relationship ended in 1998, it's clear that Noa cannot stand her, and whenever asked about Lopez, he does not hold back his negative feelings. Back in 2006, he was actually set to release a juicy tell-all book about Lopez called The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. But before it was set to be published, Lopez was able to stop it with a lawsuit. She argued that publishing the book broke their confidentiality agreement, and the courts agreed. From that lawsuit, she won $545,000 in damages, and Noa was forbid from criticizing or casting in a negative light or otherwise disparaging Lopez. Noa's name was brought up once again when he threatened to leak an intimate tape of the two of them on their honeymoon. Lopez then filed a $10 million lawsuit against him. When asked why the relationship ended, Noa blamed Lopez, saying, quote, I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me. And finally, Jennifer Lopez herself. Nobody has done more to warn us about J-Lo's sketchy behavior than herself, and some of the things she's done in the past are too terrible to ignore. Back when she tried to score a role in competition with actress Claire Danes, J-Lo said some harsh things about her competition, saying that Claire Danes does the quote, same thing with every character she does. Then Lopez bashed Winona Ryder, saying that she was not a big fan of her work. And finally, Lopez took aim at Gwyneth Paltrow, saying, quote, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Then in a different interview, Lopez decided to take aim at Madonna, specifically bashing Madonna's attempt at acting. Quote, do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. Aside from dishing out unnecessary shade to other celebrities, Lopez also has a reputation for being incredibly rude to service people. One United Airlines employee told the press how much of a diva she was during her flight. Apparently, he asked if she wanted a drink, and she replied, quote, I just said, what can I get you to drink? But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. She turned her head away and told her personal assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Even though the stewardess was trying to serve her what she wanted, she refused to look, and made her assistant speak for her. It's so ridiculous and an unnecessary power play. But this interaction is nothing compared to the maid that was fired for asking J-Lo for an autograph. The maid later spoke with media and said she asked J-Lo's 2 assistants, who rejected the autograph. Then a day later, the hotel said that Lopez complained about the incident, and that maid was fired. First up, Ming-Na Wen. Scarlett has had a ton of controversial moments in her career, but I think this one easily got the most media coverage and pushback. When Steven Spielberg got the rights to remake a Japanese movie called Ghost in the Shell, he cast Johansson in the lead role. The role was called Major, a cyborg soldier with a human brain and a cybernetic body, who is the main character. Although the project was a huge hit in Asia and was expected to do similar numbers in North America, this casting decision led the movie to be a flop, because fans accused the movie of whitewashing. The public called on the studio to cast an Asian woman in the role instead of a white woman, since it was based on a Japanese character. Months later, Stephen Paul, a producer on the film, defended the decision to cast Johansson as Major, explaining to BuzzFeed News that Sanders' Ghost in the Shell adaptation takes place in an international world, adding that it isn't just a Japanese story and it does not just focus on Japan, rather the whole world. Johansson also did not back down when asked about the casting and stood stood by the decision. When talking about it with Mary Claire, she said, quote, "I never presumed to play another race. Diversity is important in Hollywood, and I would never want to feel like I was playing a character that was offensive." She then pivoted to talk about how amazing it is to have a woman heading a huge franchise like this. Johansson also defended the choice by stating that the character is a human brain inside of a machine body, making it identity-less. But Asian actors did not agree with Johansson's take and shared how disappointed they were in the casting choice. When the photo of Johansson in the film came out, Ming-Na Wen, who stars on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., tweeted, quote, "Nothing against Scarlett Johansson, in fact I'm a big fan, but everything against this whitewashing of Asian role." Many other actors shared similar sentiments about whitewashing the franchise. Harvey Weinstein. In 2017, the terrible actions of movie producer Harvey Weinstein were exposed to the public, and plenty of actresses came forward sharing their experiences working with him. Many shared that they had to perform sexual favors in exchange for roles. In light of all the terrible press surrounding Weinstein, many actresses boycotted Weinstein and his family, including his wife at the time, Georgina Chapman, who founded the clothing brand Marchesa. However, Scarlett did not boycott Marchesa, and instead she decided to show off the designer by wearing them at the Met Gala that year. Multiple actresses also came forward to share that Weinstein previously pressured and even threatened them to wear Marchesa to events, so many felt his wife was in cahoots with him. Many people question why Johansson, a supporter of both Me Too and Time's Up, decided to publicly support Chapman's designs. She explained herself in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, saying, quote, "I wore Marchesa because their clothes make women feel confident and beautiful. It's my pleasure to support a brand created by two incredibly talented and important female designers." Jamie Clayton. In 2018, Johansson had another casting blunder when she signed up to play the role of Dante Tex Gill, a trans man that operated a massage parlor business in the 70s, in the film Rub and Tug. The LGBTQ+ community and its allies argued that the role should have gone to a trans actor, not a cisgender woman, and said it contributed to trans erasure. Even with all the criticism, Johansson once again stood her ground and defended the casting. Mainly, she tried to take the blame off herself and put it onto other cis actors who had played trans characters in the past. Johansson told Bustle at the time, quote, "Tell them they can be directed to Jeffrey Tambor, Jared Leto, and Felicity Huffman's refs for comment. This is because Jeffrey Tambor played a trans woman on Transparent, Jared Leto was cast as a trans woman in Dallas Buyers Club, and Felicity Huffman took on a role as a trans woman in Trans America." However, since the backlash with the project did not stop, Johansson later decided to leave the project. Johansson went on to say she understood why people felt that Dante should be played by a trans actor, adding that she's grateful to participate in a controversial debate that sparked a larger conversation about diversity and representation in film. She said later that she mishandled the backlash. Trans actor Jamie Clayton shared their thoughts in a tweet, writing, quote, "Actors who are trans never even get to audition for anything other than trans characters. That's the real issue. We can't even get in the room. Cast actors who are trans as non-trans characters, I dare you." However, the drama with this casting did not end there, and Johansson said more controversial statements surrounding this topic a year later, saying that she should be able to play any character that she wants. Quote, "You know, as an actor I should be allowed to play any person, or any tree, or any animal, because that is my job and the requirements of my job." Adding, quote, "Today there's a lot of emphasis and conversation about what acting is and who we want to see represent ourselves on screen. The question now is, what is acting anyway?" However, she later said that her controversial comments were taken out of context and was edited for clickbait. She later clarified, saying, quote, "I personally feel that in an ideal world, any actor should be able to play anybody in art, and all forms should be immune to political correctness. That is the point I was making, albeit it didn't come across that way." Woody Allen. Another controversial take from Scarlett was her support of Woody Allen during his scandal, where he's accused of sexual misconduct by several women, including Dylan Farrow, who is the child of Mia Farrow, whom Allen married. After this, many women took Dylan Farrow's side and boycotted Allen. However, Scarlett was not one of them and actually defended Woody Allen. Johansson had worked with Allen on films like Match Point, Scoop, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and she said in 2019 that she would still work with him if the opportunity came up. After the allegations surfaced, Johansson said in an interview, quote, "I love Woody. I believe him and I would work with him anytime." Apparently she speaks with him often, and the pair have had many conversations about these allegations. She added, quote, "I've been very direct with him and he's very direct with me. He maintains his innocence and I believe him." This is not only very problematic but also hypocritical, because Scarlett publicly called out James Franco for supporting Time's Up before 5 women accused him of misconduct. Dylan Farrow also called out Scarlett on Twitter, quote, "If we've learned anything from the past 2 years is that you definitely should believe men who maintain their innocence without question. Scarlett has a long way to go in understanding the issues she claims to champion," referring to the actor's public support of Me Too and Time's Up. Months later, in her 2019 Vanity cover story, Johansson doubled down on her previous comments about Allen. quote, "It's my experience, I don't know any more than any other person knows. I only have a close proximity with Woody. He's a friend of mine. I have no other insight other than my relationship with him," continuing that she doesn't want to lie or edit herself, and she wants to openly share her opinions on the matter. Benedict Cumberbatch. Recently, Scarlett Johansson got tons of press after she decided to sue Disney over their Black Widow premiere. It's common for actors to get a portion of the box office numbers, but Scarlett felt she was not given a fair amount by Disney because they decided to premiere the movie at home on Disney+, as well as in theaters, which made the theater sum significantly smaller than usual. Fellow Disney star Benedict Cumberbatch reacted to the news, calling the ordeal, quote, "a bit of a mess." During a wide-ranging profile with The Hollywood Reporter, Benedict Cumberbatch said he thought it was sad how the whole thing was unfolding. The lawsuit claims that Johansson lost untold potential revenue while Disney execs profited by growing the Disney Plus streaming services base at the same time. Disney fired back, calling the lawsuit sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the new state of the world due to lockdown measures. When asked about the legal turmoil with his co-star, Cumberbatch said, quote, "It's sad what's going on between the lawyers, but he said we need to put it in context of what's happening in the world right now," adding, quote, "The whole thing's just a bit of a mess. We're trying to understand what the revenue stream should be for artists to contribute to the billion-dollar business that is Disney, and it has to be contractualized." Many were surprised that he didn't all-out support Johansson like other stars had at the time. WandaVision star Emily Olsen called the move brave, and she fiercely defended Johansson's decision. Jennifer Lawrence. This is one we're not sure is a real feud or not, but sources claim that since Lauren and Johansson are both engaged and plan to wed in New York City, they're trying to upstage each other with their weddings. According to the outlet, Johansson and Lawrence have never liked each other, and the situation is getting worse now that they're both planning weddings in the New York area. The source said they definitely want to outshine each other on their big days, and it's assumed their weddings will take place shortly after one another's. Apparently, Johansson has always been a little envious of the roles that Jen's got over her because Scarlett believes she's more talented than Jen. Apparently, Scarlett also doesn't like Jen's quirky personality and finds it annoying, adding, quote, "She feels Jennifer is a bit of a phony." The feud was taken up a notch when both women looked at the same venue for their wedding in the Hamptons, but they don't want to get married at the same place, so they are keeping serious tabs on one another. First up, Jay Mohr. Jay Mohr threw some serious shade Jennifer Aniston's way when he accused her of being mad that she had to play his love interest in a movie. Basically, she felt the casting could have gotten a more attractive person to act alongside her. It started in 2010 when Elle asked him what his most awkward interaction with a female celebrity was. He responded, not giving names, but describing a situation when an actress got very angry after learning that Mohr was playing her love interest in a movie. Apparently, after she learned the news, she said, quote, "You've got to be kidding me," right to his face. That interaction led Mohr to, quote, "go to my mom's house and cry." He was specifically asked if the woman he was talking about was Jennifer Aniston because she was his love interest in the 1997 film Picture Perfect. Mohr said, quote, "I will never ever answer that." But shortly after, he did answer who he was talking about. While on his Mohr Stories podcast, he confirmed it was Aniston after all. He claimed she went up to him, pointed at him, and yelled, quote, "6 guys they screen test. 6. The one effing guy I hate, this is the guy they hired. Him." Apparently, this kind of berating went on for an entire day, and she kept trash-talking him to other people, including their mutual co-stars. In summary, he said that she was so mean to him, and it clearly left a huge impact. So much so that he will not stop bringing it up. In 2016, during a Sports Illustrated interview, he was asked what was more satisfying, kissing Jen Aniston or firing Tom Cruise's character in Jerry Maguire. Mohr answered, quote, "Without question, firing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter." Probably not the answer that most people were expecting. John Mayer. Most of Jennifer Aniston's ex-boyfriends have nothing but good things to say about her. However, John Mayer took some not-so-subtle digs during an interview after their split. Mayer's 2010 interview with Playboy is pretty infamous in the celebrity world for being one of the shadiest ever, and revealing things he probably should have kept secret. Things including some shady digs toward Jen. In the interview, he accused Jen of being someone who is not good with technology, and even refuses to learn new ways to do things, saying, quote, "If Jennifer Aniston knows how to use BitTorrent, I'll eat my effing shoe." While Mayer was getting into Twitter and other social media platforms, he claimed that Aniston was keeping herself away from technological advances. He added, quote, "The brunt of her success came before TMZ and Twitter. I think she's still hoping it goes back to 1998. He even brought up their age difference. Aniston was older by 8 years, saying, quote, "I can't change the fact that I need to be 32. Joan Rivers. The late comedian was not known to keep her opinions to herself, and she didn't hold back about her negative feelings toward Jennifer Aniston. In a 2011 interview, Rivers said about Aniston, quote, "I would like to take Jennifer Aniston and put her hair over her effing face. I'm so bored with her and her stupid movies. They're all the same. I don't know how they get financed." Then when she was asked who she doesn't want to see on the Oscars red carpet, Rivers replied, "Jennifer Aniston. Quote, I don't want to see Jennifer Aniston say, boo hoo hoo, Brad Pitt left me, get the F over it." In her book Joan Rivers Confidential, Rivers made another savage comment about Jen. Quote, "Even if Jennifer does become pregnant, Angelina Jolie will get the baby." Kristen Stewart. It's not clear if this is just a rumor or not, but gossip magazine The National Enquirer claimed they had good reason to believe that Kristen Stewart does not like Jennifer Aniston. Back in 2013, Kristen Stewart was allegedly annoyed that Aniston was getting a lot more press than her. The source who shared this claimed it was clear that Kristen was jealous of Jen. At the time, Stewart was struggling with confidence issues and could not understand why Aniston managed to, quote, hog the headlines every time with little effort. Stewart apparently also added that Aniston's feud with Angelina Jolie gave her a huge bump in the press and nobody would have cared about her otherwise. The source added that Kristen Stewart said, quote, "If it wasn't for her bitter rivalry with Angelina, Jen would not be this famous these days at all." Again, take this one with a grain of salt, but I'm sure Stewart is not the only person with these feelings. Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn is another person who does not hold back their feelings, and that was no exception in the case of Jennifer Aniston. After her 2008 split from John Mayer, Gunn felt she was completely desperate and would continue with her trope of playing the victim. At a launch party event, he said about Aniston, quote, "Sometimes I think she has a desperate character written on her," adding, "The clothes we wear send a message. I think that's the message. I don't think it's her intention though." Clearly, Gunn thinks her perpetual victim card is all an act, and she's really just desperate for attention. Bill O'Reilly. Aniston and Bill O'Reilly got into a strange feud after Aniston made some comments about children while promoting her 2010 movie, The Switch. For a summary on the movie, Aniston's character wants to have a child, and because she is single, she decides to get a sperm donor and has a child with that donor's help, clearly showing a new take on motherhood in the modern era. While promoting the film, she said that, quote, "Times have changed when it comes to the way that people think about family." Aniston added that single motherhood is quite beautiful because there are children that don't have homes that have a home and can be loved, and that's extremely important. She obviously wasn't intending to start a controversy with these comments, but she did anyways when Fox News host Bill O'Reilly trashed her comments on the O'Reilly factor. He said that her comments told young women that their children don't need fathers, which would be destructive to our society. Aniston, who doesn't usually comment on this stuff, decided to clap back, saying, quote, "I never actually thought my name and that name would ever be in one sentence." She added that she only responded to the ridiculous comments because they insulted the women that are out there doing this on their own. Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan shared his disdain for Jennifer Aniston after he felt that she was overly emotional during a Q&A segment. In 2016, she answered the question if she ever doubted herself by saying, quote, "We're all human beings at the end of the day," while wiping tears from her eyes, voice quivering, adding, quote, "Don't punish yourself if you feel that." Fans love the genuine moment because it's a great feeling knowing that even celebrities have their fair share of bad times. But Piers did not take kindly to her vulnerability and felt it was completely fake. So the following week on Good Morning Britain, Morgan claimed that she was, quote, "self-wallowing and needed to get a grip," adding, quote, "Nobody forced Aniston to do her naked magazine shoots," then reminding her that her problems don't really matter because half of the world is starving. Then later in 2016, he also took the time to respond to an article that Aniston wrote trashing the media, where she shared how she was fed up with body shaming and scrutiny that she received. Morgan responded that she should dismount that high horse. In 2017, Aniston responded to that by saying, quote, "You're always going to have the Piers Morgans of the world contradicting something that comes from the heart and saying you're a hypocrite." The Friends cast. Even though the cast of Friends make it seem like they always got along perfectly, that was not always the case, and there was a point in time where the entire Friends cast hated Jen Aniston. When the show was really taking off, it was clear that fans and the media loved Jen's character the most, and she was getting the most press for everything including her signature haircut. Her female co-stars got very jealous of all the attention, and that translated into real-life feelings. Courtney Cox and Lisa Kudrow were described as, quote, "very jealous of Jen." The source added, quote, "Everyone wanted to interview Jen, and her Rachel's hair became such a phenomenon that was the only thing people talked about. They were supposed to be a team, but all anyone cared about was Jen and her stupid hair. It got very annoying." And it was not only the women in the group that had a problem with Jen. The men also were not fond of her either. The source continued, quote, "The boys gave her a hard time," claiming that Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc also made mean-spirited jokes at Jen's expense. They felt that she thought that she was better than they were. Thankfully for Aniston, the tension did not last long and the cast united together to negotiate salaries of $1 million per episode each. After they won the compensation battle, things simmered. Quote, "They eventually eventually realized the whole fame thing was out of their hands, and they grew up and grew closer as a cast. And now the cast remain good friends to this day. It was even alleged that Matthew Perry and Aniston had a fling back in the day.
Starting off this countdown, we have the tabloids. According to a number of big news tabloids, Millie Bobby Brown has actually changed a lot because of her success with Stranger Things. There's a side of her that we don't get to see, but they do when conducting interviews. One source revealed, and I quote, "Brown was cool, aloof, and downright rude during promotional events for season 3 of Stranger Things. So much so that her publicist had to give her a little lesson in how to deal with media and fans." Well then, that's pretty awkward. Coming in at number 9, we have David Harbour. The bond that Millie's character Eleven and David Harbour's character Jim Hopper have on screen is incredibly beautiful. They are very close and share a deep love for each other. It's safe to say that in the show, they both saved each other in different ways. But outside of the set, the relationship is different. They both still love and care for each other, but David is very concerned about Millie. He's afraid that the fame and public attention will get to her head. In a podcast, David said, and I quote, "I have a real worry. I worry about her and the fame and all that she has to struggle with." David revealed this around the same time that Millie was facing a number of scandals, which we will be talking about next. In our 8th spot, we have Hunter Echo. Now, this is one of the scandals that I was talking about, and it's probably her biggest one. In July of 2021, during a live stream, Hunter Echo drunkenly admitted that he groomed Millie and that he did acts with her. Millie was 16 at the time, Hunter was 20. The age of consent is 18, but Hunter argued that everything was consensual and Millie's mom and dad knew everything. He even said that he lived in her house for 8 months. Still, the relationship was very inappropriate. And later, Millie's team said that they are taking action against Hunter and his claims as they were dishonest. Either way, Hunter had some nasty things to say about Millie. In the end, he got himself in big trouble instead of exposing Millie. In our 7th spot today, we have Drake. Now, this is another pretty weird controversy that Millie was involved in. It all started when it was revealed that Drake and her were pretty close and that they were frequently texting each other, which is weird because of their age difference. Like, Drake's in his 30s texting a teenager. And fans pointed out that Drake met one of his exes when she was a teenager and then later dated when she was of age. Anyways, according to Drake, Millie has a lot of boy trouble that he helps her with. Even Millie admitted in an interview that Drake helps her with her boy drama. When asked about what kind of boy drama, she said that it stays in the text messages. In our 6th spot, we have the stardom. Another tabloid revealed that Millie is having a hard time handling her stardom. They said, and I quote, "Millie has turned into a rude star and is unable to handle the stardom on her own." There are multiple videos of her interviews where people declare that Millie never leaves a chance to be in the spotlight and always interrupts her co-actors, which shows that she is being selfish and arrogant. End quote. Now, we will be talking about these interviews later on, but it is true. Whenever the Stranger Things cast does have an interview, Millie always takes the lead, preventing her co-stars to get a word in. And when they do talk, she often cuts them off and takes over the conversation, leaving them pretty annoyed. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with her behavior. According to some sources, Millie has already become a diva. Apparently, Millie's attitude was fine during Stranger Things season 1, but as soon as she got all the attention, her attitude changed. She started trying to behave more adult-like for the press, and a lot of people aren't here for it. In fact, she has been called cringy for it. It also makes it hard on set if she thinks she's top tier and the best. In fact, some people have labeled her as one of the most annoying actresses. Coming in at number 4, we have Jacob Sartorius. The two dated in 2017 for a few months. Millie said that when they broke up that it was mutual, but it seems like Jacob was pretty hurt over their breakup. In fact, he apparently wrote a number of songs about Millie, including the song "We're Not Friends," and the lyrics definitely call her out. Some lyrics go as so: "You're bad at seeing signals, girl. I've never introduced you to a single girl. And everything I do around you is on purpose, putting in the work for ya, hoping that it's working. I spent about a year just playing my part. I'm picking up the pieces to your broken heart." He also goes on to sing, "Girl, I wanna give you more than good advice." Yikes. Jacob? Yikes. Who knew Jacob had it in him? Coming in at number 3, we have Sadie Sink. Now, according to Millie Bobby Brown, Sadie Sink is one of her closest friends. However, there have been a number of incidences between the two that make us think that Sadie isn't the fondest of Millie. First off, let's take a look at this clip from an interview with the Stranger Things cast.
Because I mean, it was fun, but like, because Sadie got to see how like crazy I am when I'm 11. Like, I'm just like, you know, always really like deep in thought, and so like working together for the first time was like really fun.
I feel so sorry for her. Like, look at how walled up and awkward she gets when Millie cuts her off. And if you watch other interviews, she continually does this with Sadie, and Sadie's face says it all. In our second spot today, we have Caleb. Now, during the same interview, Caleb, who plays Lucas Sinclair on Stranger Things, I guess noticed that Sadie wasn't talking and kind of shied off. So he kind of called out Millie and asked Sadie if she wanted to say anything.
Sadie, do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You guys set it off.
Had he not said anything, Millie would have just continued to talk the whole interview without letting Sadie get a word in. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Caleb Part 2. During the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, Sadie, Caleb, and Millie went on stage to accept the award for Stranger Things. And well, take a look at how that went.
And obviously, you guys. I mean,
Millie literally couldn't wait her turn and prevented Caleb from saying anything. After which he kind of just gives a look like, really? Really, Millie? And it was captured all on live TV. Also, Millie doesn't even turn to apologize or anything. I don't even think she realized that he tripped in the back.
First up, we got Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle is one of Priyanka's best friends. Many were shocked to see Chopra at Markle's wedding to Prince Harry, but anyone that knew their past would know the ladies had been friends for years. However, there were rumors that their relationship had soured after the ladies started missing each other's big events. It started after Markle did not attend Chopra's wedding to Nick Jonas in India. Reportedly, Priyanka was so hurt by this, she decided not to attend Markle's New York City baby shower. Page 6 reported that Priyanka wanted an apology from Meghan and felt that she, quote, didn't respect their friendship. Both women denied the feud rumors, and sources later said that Priyanka did not attend because she had prior work commitments, which Meghan was aware of. After the feud rumors got too big to ignore, a source told E! that they are perfectly fine. Quote, all the rumors that Priyanka and Meghan aren't friends anymore are totally not true. Priyanka and Meghan are still very close friends and they talk frequently. Meghan confides in Priyanka about the adjustments she's had to make with being a royal, adding, quote, just because Priyanka didn't go to the shower or that Meghan couldn't come to her weddings doesn't mean anything about their friendship. They're still very close friends, and Meghan considers Priyanka one of her closest confidants. Priyanka echoed these statements herself during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live. A fan called in and asked, quote, Priyanka, are the rumors true that you were upset that Meghan Markle skipped your wedding to Nick Jonas? Host Andy Cohen stirred the pot further, adding, quote, they said you didn't go to her baby shower because you were mad at her. Priyanka laughed off the feud, saying, quote, oh my god, no, it's not true. Next up, Aisha Malik. Other than her acting talents, Priyanka is known for being very engaged in social issues. She was even named the UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador because of how often she uses her platform for good. But while at a beauty event in 2019, Aisha Malik put a huge stain on Priyanka's reputation when she asked Priyanka to comment on problematic social media posts, specifically her feelings about India and Pakistan's strained relationship. Earlier that year, Priyanka tweeted, quote, Jai Hind, which loosely translates to Hail India. The slogan was accompanied by a hashtag Indian Army, which may have alluded to Indian fighter jets a militant training camp in Pakistan. This tweet got tons of backlash, with some claiming the tweet meant she was pushing for war between India and Pakistan. Malik then asked Chopra how she could speak about peace and love at this event, but tweet problematic things about world issues, asking, quote, you are UNICEF ambassador for peace and you're encouraging nuclear war against Pakistan. Before Malik could continue with her question, the mic was pulled away from her, and Priyanka responded, quote, I hear you whenever you're done venting. Got it? Okay, cool. Chopra then told the woman, quote, don't yell, don't embarrass yourself. It was really rude and showed just how little Priyanka cared about listening to her fans. Later in an interview with Gulf News, Malik said, quote, what sparked me to say this was after she tweeted Jai Hind on February 26th, there was radio silence from her. All the Bollywood actors were saying Jai Hind too. The thing between her and other Bollywood actors is that Priyanka is international. She is Miss Jonas. She's more than just a Bollywood actress. Therefore, I was more frustrated with her than the other Bollywood actors. Malik claimed that she had no intention to get famous from the incident, and had it been her intention, she would have been more eloquent with her question. Aisha also said that she was, quote, disappointed with Priyanka's answer, Twitter, saying that she was clearly forced to respond on the spot without her usual team of PR experts. Priyanka made no further comment on the matter. Next up, Danielle Jonas. Danielle Jonas, who's been married to eldest Jonas brother Kevin for years now, has been rumored to hate new sister-in-law Priyanka. There's been little digs that the sisters have thrown out against each other over the years, but neither of them had said anything until Danielle decided to comment on these rumors. The feud rumor started when Danielle did not attend Priyanka's bachelorette party. She claimed that she couldn't attend because she was moving. Things got worse after she wished Sophie Turner a happy birthday. The whole story began with an Instagram post. It was Sophie Turner's birthday, who is another one of the Jonas brothers' wives. She's married to Joe Jonas. So Danielle wanted to be nice to her sister-in-law and posted a few photos of them together on Instagram, along with the caption, quote, "My girls and I are so blessed to have you in our lives. They can't get enough of their Aunt Sophie. You deserve the world and I hope you're having an amazing birthday." In the comments, some users wrote, quote, "The low-key shade in this though. I love sassy Danny." To which another replied, "I read it the same way. Shade against Priyanka, right?" But Danielle decided to squash the beef rumors quickly, responding to that comment writing, quote, "Nope, no shade about Priyanka. It's just Sophie's birthday, so I wanted to say happy birthday. I think everyone should stop with thinking that we don't like Priyanka. She is lovely. I am so over people trying to make a problem." So it seems like this is case closed, right? Well, not quite. Fans think Priyanka has also been shady towards Danielle in the past. Most notably, Priyanka often refers to Sophie as her J sister, but she's never given Danielle this nickname. Interestingly, however, Danielle was one of the bridesmaids at Priyanka's wedding with Nick Jonas. So I guess it's up to you guys to decide what you think. Akshay Kumar. It's been widely rumored that Priyanka was blacklisted from appearing in Bollywood projects because she's had multiple affairs with married men. The first married man is Akshay Kumar. It's been rumored that while Akshay and his wife Twinkle were dining at a restaurant, they had a huge fight about his affair with Priyanka. Someone who was at this restaurant told the tabloids what happened. They said, quote, "The fight happened in full public view as both Akshay and Twinkle screamed at each other. One got the distinct impression that he had admitted to having an affair with Priyanka Chopra." Since then, it's been rumored that Twinkle forbid Akshay from ever working with Priyanka ever again. The pair had starred in multiple movies together, each time his wife was getting more suspicious of Priyanka. Priyanka and his wife Twinkle even had a fight of their own. It was reported that they screamed at one another over the phone, and it got so bad that Twinkle went to set to confront Priyanka. When she was not there, Twinkle instead confronted her husband, and the pair had a huge fight on set in front of the cast and crew. Reportedly, the next day, Akshay issued an official statement claiming that he will not accept any work alongside Priyanka. Since then, they have not starred in any movies together. And finally, Priyanka Chopra herself. There is something about Priyanka that really rubs people the wrong way, and it's not hard to find people openly trashing the star on social media. One case that got her a ton of backlash was when she appeared on the cover of Condé Nast Traveler in 2016 and was wearing a shirt that raised a lot of eyebrows. BBC reported, quote, "The top has the words migrant, refugee, and outsider crossed out, while the word traveler stands out," which was not only confusing but really tone deaf. After fans started to attack Chopra for wearing the shirt, she responded, quote, "I'm really apologetic about the fact that so many sentiments were hurt. I'm someone who always stands for no labels. I was very affected and felt really horrible." She added that she wanted the magazine to tackle xenophobia, which is a big issue in regards to a lot of these labels. When asked why they included the phrase traveler, Condé Nast claimed that they wanted to be ambiguous about people moving in or out. Whether it's by choice or not by choice, you're still traveling. This is obviously not true, and refugees are fleeing their home countries because it's not safe, not because they just want to travel. That's not all. She's had a reputation for not being subtle about her accomplishments in the past, and many fans think she brags about herself any chance that she gets. Speaking with the Daily Beast in 2019, Chopra was speaking about her background and said, quote, "I come from a very academic family. I was very academically inclined when I was 17. I didn't really think the profession of glamour was a real profession because everyone in my family was academic. But it changed by fluke when I won Miss India." At first you think that's an endearing story, but if you really listen to her comments, she included not one but two brags about how great she is. Not only did it come across as out of touch, she also bashed people in the entertainment industry by claiming she didn't think it was a real profession. This is just one of many times fans think she was arrogant in an interview.
At number 5, the Jonas Brothers. As we are all aware, Disney likes to keep their stars as clean as possible, so when they're caught being a little more adult and risque, that is definitely a problem for the company. This became Vanessa Hudgens' reality in 2007 after some of her private photos were leaked. Vanessa opened up about this scandal years later, saying that it was traumatic for her, having lost her privacy in that moment. It was also a big deal for Disney, who was trying to cover the story up and keep her image intact. Since she was one of the faces of the High School Musical franchise, it was important to the company to make this all go away. Joe Jonas even opened up about this time in Vanessa's life, saying that while he and his brothers were working for Disney at the time, he remembers the day the scandal broke and how the executives had Vanessa in their office for the whole day trying to deal with that mess. Joe even said that the other executives approached him and his brothers and praised them for not having had a scandal like this. This put a lot of pressure on the Jonas brothers to always stay perfect in the eyes of the company. In a way, the Jonas brothers warned us about Vanessa and her image. On one hand, the Joe Bros kind of exposed the lengths that people would go to give Vanessa the special treatment she required to get her out of this mess, and this special treatment could have impacted her ego, making her into who she is now. At number 4, Chrissy Teigen. In early 2020, when the world started ending, a lot of celebrities were voicing their thoughts and opinions on the global health crisis, and many of them faced backlash. From Madonna and her bathtub rant to Evangeline Lilly and her dismissal of the lockdown protocols, celebrities started facing backlash for their comments and actions, but the one celebrity who faced the most backlash in regards to their pandemic comments was actress Vanessa Hudgens. You might recall her comments about people passing away due to COVID and the backlash that ensued afterwards, but you might not recall who came to support her when she was being cancelled. Chrissy Teigen stepped up to defend the actress when she was getting torn to shreds online and in the news. In response to Vanessa being cancelled, Chrissy tweeted in her defense saying, quote, "Sometimes people, especially famous people, are gonna say some really stupid ish, and so are you, and they and you will learn from it, and hopefully their history says they're good. It's okay, and at the same time, wow, they had a really dumb moment. But you don't have to ruin their lives. This isn't about me this time, but it will be one day or it'll be you. But yeah, today it's Vanessa. LOL, and no, life isn't ruined for everyone. But you are damn well trying your best. Just stop." Unquote. Chrissy also ended up facing some backlash for those comments because she was seen as defending the remarks that Vanessa made. This could have been a warning about Vanessa, but as we would later come to find out, Chrissy is a little problematic herself, so one problematic person supporting another could spell disaster. Before we carry on talking about Vanessa Hudgens and the people who warned us about her true colors, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 3, Austin Butler. When you love someone, you want to show it, and what's a better way of showing it than defacing a natural United States property? I'm kidding, but Vanessa Hudgens was not. While on a romantic getaway with then-boyfriend Austin Butler, the two etched their names surrounded by a heart into a rock in Sedona, Arizona, and Vanessa posted a picture of it to her Instagram. Come to find out a little while later that what they did was totally illegal, and they ratted on themselves with that post. Since being made aware of her illegal activity, she removed the post and was ordered to pay a $1,000 fine for damages, but the outcome could have been so much worse. The maximum fine for this offense is $5,000 and a 6-month jail sentence. In a way, Austin and Vanessa's actions could have been a warning about the actress's sense of entitlement. She didn't see anything wrong with defacing the rocks in Arizona and didn't really care about the consequences, and that sort of speaks volumes about the type of person someone is. If you don't care about how your actions affect others, then that can kind of make you a bad person. At number 2, Zac Efron. When you think about Vanessa Hudgens, most people would picture her in High School Musical carrying around that Disney vibe, but after learning about her dark side, you might change your thoughts about her. Basically, Vanessa has been known to often let her jealousy get the best of her, and oftentimes this leads to people getting their feelings hurt. Take for example this one time when a fan approached Vanessa's ex, Zac Efron. The couple were out shopping at a department store when a young fan went up to Zac to tell him how much she loved him. She was apparently super nervous and stumbling over her words, and so instead of being an understanding and respectful person, Vanessa butt in and started making fun of the young fan. She started laughing at the poor girl and humiliated her in front of her celebrity crush. Now, even though Zac didn't exactly do anything in this specific situation, he did bring out a side of Vanessa because she was showing a jealous side when someone other than her was getting Zac's attention. This could have been a warning about how she is in a relationship, seeming to be quite emotional and attached, but also serving as a warning of the type of person she is when she's not on set, showing that she's not afraid to be rude, even to the people who support her the most. And finally, at number 1, Selena Gomez. Back in 2012, Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez seemed to have gotten into a feud over a Vanity Fair cover. See, at the time, they were promoting their film Spring Breakers, and so there was a lot of attention on them, but it seemed like Vanessa wanted that attention more than anything because she got really upset when she found out that Selena was getting the Vanity Fair cover and not her. She played it off like Selena was only getting the spotlight because of her relationship with Justin Bieber at the time. A source close to Vanessa told sources, quote, "Vanessa won't let it go. She feels absolutely furious, especially since she has a much bigger role in Spring Breakers than Selena does." End quote. This side of Vanessa certainly wasn't flattering because she was giving off such much diva energy. In a way, her feuds with Selena was a warning about how seriously Vanessa takes her time in the spotlight and just how she isn't willing to share that fame.
Number 10. Candace Owens. In 2020, when Harry Styles made history as the first male to have a solo cover of Vogue, what really surprised people was that he wore a dress. The conservative commentator did not approve of his clothing choice, and so she tweeted, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this, in the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." In response to this, Olivia Wilde called Candace pathetic for basically attacking Harry's gender expression and conflating wearing a dress with being feminine. Then in response to that tweet, Candace hit back at Olivia, tweeting, "You're single for a reason," referencing her split from longtime partner Jason Sudeikis, which was announced just days earlier. The Twitter feud recently resurfaced online and has since gone viral after the actress was spotted holding hands with Harry at one of his friends' weddings a few weeks ago. But many fans pointed to the tweets as evidence that Olivia has always been defending and standing up for Harry. Number 9. Shia LaBeouf. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Olivia Wilde's upcoming film Don't Worry Darling, which debuts in theaters this fall. However, news broke in September of 2020 that she had replaced him with Harry Styles. But the story that Olivia began circulating was a little different. She alleged that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she had while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demand in my productions. He has a process that, in some ways, seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to production and to the cast to protect them." But Shia was not happy with this side of the story and decided to publicly expose Olivia. He emailed both the director and Variety and denied that he was fired, instead saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because of your actors, and I couldn't find time to rehearse." And in the most explosive revenge move ever, Shia then leaked a video of Olivia practically begging him to stay in the film and making it seem like Florence Pugh was the problem and she was the one who didn't want him there. The video went viral and the result was utter chaos. Number 8. Amani Babaran. The author, influencer, and activist reacted to the hypocrisy surrounding the viral video that was leaked of Olivia Wilde addressing the feud between Shia LaBeouf and Florence Pugh. She tweeted, "This whole Olivia Wilde thing reminds me of the Whitney Cummings thing, reminds me of so many recent incidents in Hollywood where white women have revealed that they acquire power in the industry not because they challenge norms but tout female empowerment while changing nothing." In the clip, the 38-year-old is seen driving a car and speaking to the camera at the same time. She tells Shia that she is not ready to give up on the possibility of him working on the film, despite the fact that she later claimed to have fired him. But in reality, the video exposed that she was the one pleading with him to stay on the project. Shia was pretty much out to expose her and wrote an email to Variety explaining how everything went down. Quote, "Firing me never took place, Olivia, and while I fully understand the attractiveness of pushing that story because of the current social landscape, the social currency that brings, it is not the truth. So I am humbly asking as a person with an eye toward making things right that you correct the narrative as best as you can." Number 7. Tao Ruspoli. Olivia met her first husband, filmmaker and Italian prince Tao Ruspoli, through a friend of her family's in late 2002. The actress wasn't initially eager to meet him, but she warmed to the idea and she was charmed by his personality, charisma, and political activism. Just 6 months later, they eloped and seemed to be truly happy, and would eventually go on to pursue several film projects together. But in March of 2011, 8 years after eloping, Olivia filed for divorce from Tao. He did seem to be a lot more heartbroken out of the two of them, and even made a documentary called Monogamish, which was inspired by his heartbreak over the divorce. In the film, he revealed, "My wife just left me after nearly 10 years together, and my whole world has crumbled." But for her part, it seemed like Olivia almost wanted to embarrass her ex. In 2020, at an event hosted by Glamour Mag, she discussed trying to fake happiness with her ex-husband towards the end of her marriage. In fact, she aired out all their dirty laundry and talked about how bad their sex life was. Quote, "I felt like my vagina died. Turned off, lights out. You can lie to your relatives at Christmas dinner and tell them everything on the home front is just peachy, but you cannot lie to your vagina." Even if she was joking, that would have been a little painful for anyone to hear. Number 6. Gianmarco Soresi. As Olivia Wilde was presenting at CinemaCon and talking about her new movie Don't Worry Darling, a woman from the audience approached her and handed her a yellow envelope, which read "Personal and Confidential." The whole thing was caught on camera. As the actress opened the envelope, she found that it was custody papers from her former partner Jason Sudeikis. After a brief moment of shock, she decided to continue on with her presentation, but later addressed the bizarre moment in an interview with Variety. Quote, "In any other workplace, it would be seen as an attack. It was really upsetting. It shouldn't have been able to happen. There was a huge breach in security, which is really scary." The incident put Jason in a really bad light, but surprisingly, some people thought it was staged. Gianmarco Cerezi, a New York actor and stand-up comedian, seemed to believe that the whole thing was a PR stunt. He tweeted, "We're a couple of days away from finding out that Olivia Wilde served herself custody papers." Not only did his tweet blow up, but a lot of people were apparently thinking the same thing. As another user wrote, "On the very same day, Olivia just announced the release of the trailer of her new movie, and days later, Jason started a new project. As if they wanted all the attention on them. Open your eyes." Wow. Number 5, Florence Pugh. As we know, the Hollywood it girl appears in Olivia Wilde's upcoming film alongside Harry Styles. However, there was reportedly much tension on the set between the two women. Florence allegedly wasn't too happy seeing her director hook up with Harry, considering the fact that at the time she was still married to Jason Sudeikis. But the main reason for the feud between the two actresses is because Florence reportedly did not feel safe or comfortable playing Shia's love interest in the movie, as the actor has been recently plagued with disturbing allegations like accusations of domestic violence. And while Olivia made it seem like she was understanding and going to accommodate her request, the video Shia leaked of her tells a different story entirely. In the video, Olivia sounded heartbroken that he was leaving the project and instead makes it seem like Florence was the problem after all. She said, "The fact that you're leaving might be a little bit of a wake-up call to Miss Flo. If she really commits, if she really puts her mind and heart into this at this point, and if you guys can make peace, and I respect your point of view, I respect hers, but if you guys can do it, what do you think?" So it's easy to see why Florence would be upset at that. Number 4, Vanessa Hudgens. When the High School Musical star made some pretty controversial comments complaining about having to quarantine and COVID restrictions, Olivia Wilde was quick to shut her down. During the Instagram live, Vanessa Hudgens said, "Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. It's a virus. I get it. I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but like inevitable." Her tone-deaf comments earned her a whole bunch of backlash on social media, especially from Olivia, who slammed her in a tweet of her own, writing, "In 1,000 years, they'll dig up our society and find this precious digital moment and be like, oh okay, so this is why they mysteriously disappeared from the earth." She also left emojis of a head shaking in disappointment. All the criticism ultimately led the actress to return to her Instagram to clear up the misunderstandings. Vanessa wrote, "Hey guys, so yesterday I did an Instagram live and I realized that some of my comments are being taken out of context," and she proceeded to apologize for coming off as insensitive. It's unclear whether or not the two have made up since 2020, but it's likely Vanessa is still feeling the sting from being burned online. Number 3, Mark Joseph Stern. When the 2009 movie Richard Jewell came out, it was steeped in controversy, mostly because of Olivia Wilde's portrayal of real-life journalist Kathy Scruggs. The real Kathy, who died in 2001, was working at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution when she broke a story that the FBI was investigating a security guard named Richard Jewell for the bombing in Centennial Olympic Park during the 1996 Olympics. But the issue with the movie was that it depicted the iconic female journalist as having traded for information, which was particularly offensive considering the fact that there was no evidence Kathy Scruggs ever did that, and even many of her past colleagues came forward condemning the movie. Slate's senior writer was among the loudest voices in protest of the film and slammed Olivia for her role. Quote, "Please do not pay to see movies that feature fictional female journalists who sleep with sources for a story. It's egregiously sexist, demeaning, and an insulting trope at this stage, and I don't see an appropriate response other than a flat-out boycott. It's 2019. Smart, thoughtful people have condemned this offensive trope loudly and consistently for years. They have persuasively explained why it is abhorrent. And he wasn't the only one taking offense." Number 2, Jessica Biel. There was once a claim out there that Jessica Biel did not want Justin Timberlake to be anywhere near his ex-girlfriend Olivia Wilde and allegedly sees her as a threat. It's completely understandable that Jessica wouldn't be jumping at the opportunity for Justin to work with Olivia again, given that in 2011 they were seen partying together at a Hollywood club called the Roxbury, and allegedly got pretty handsy before leaving together at 3 a.m. The actors, who were co-stars at the time in the movie Now, reportedly cuddled in a VIP section before moving out onto the patio. Eyewitnesses said that the two of them were even seen kissing. Even though Olivia responded to the rumors by tweeting, "Cool it, honey badgers, we are just friends and have been for years." But not only that, Jessica's marriage to Justin was also tested in 2019 when he was spotted with his co-star Alicia holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The photos caused a huge scandal, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment, and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. So Justin certainly has a rocky history when it comes to infidelity. And coming in at number 1, Jason Sudeikis. After a 7-year engagement, the pair announced that they had separated in November of 2020. Like most celebrity couples that live in the public eye, their divorce is very messy, and so was their big public breakup and bitter custody battle over their 2 young children. But it seems like these two are still at each other's throats, which may or may not be due to the fact that Olivia allegedly cheated on Jason with Harry Styles, which was one of the main reasons for their split. In fact, it was heavily implied that the two of them had been having an affair for around a month before the breakup. And what made it even worse was that Jason reportedly didn't realize it was happening and even brought their children to visit the set. The actress and director was faced with a bitter surprise when she was served custody papers halfway through her talk. She later told Variety, "I hated that this nastiness distracted from the work of so many different people, and the studio that I was up there representing try and sabotage that was really vicious. But you know, sadly, it was not something that was entirely surprising to me. I mean, there's a reason that I left that relationship." Ouch.